Hi friends, welcome to the Share Report. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And for those who are returning, thank you so much for being here and for your support. Share this channel with others, get others involved, to become active citizens, to know what we're up against and all the things. So I want to hop on here and to talk about something that I personally actually recently learned about one of the co-founders of Netflix. His name is Mark Randolph, and he's actually related to Edward Bernays. He's the great nephew of Edward Bernays. And you're probably thinking, oh, I've heard of that name before, Edward Bernays. We've talked about him before on this channel. I did a small video talking about how he got women to smoke in the very early part of the 1900s and like 1920, 1930s. He got women to smoking, and a company had came to him. This is specifically Edward Bernays. He's considered the father of propaganda, which they cleaned up the terminology and called it public relations. But these companies came to him saying, you know what, we want to make more money. We want to get women to smoking. So he did this little campaign to socially engineer women to get to smoking. He used the color green, and he also sold it to them as freedom. So on Easter, he had all the women get together after socially engineering them to light their freedom torches on Easter and to become smokers. So that's how that came about. And that was very interesting because a lot of people don't know that that's how women got smoking, and it's been like that ever since. And he's considered the father of propaganda, also known as public relations. So what I recently found out is that his great nephew is actually the co-founder of Netflix. His name is Mark Randolph. And it's very interesting to know that because we see a lot of different things that go on that's pushed out to us. And also another thing, that they were also related to Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was the uncle of Edward Bernays. He was considered the father of modern psychology, and he worked with children. He dealt with a lot of different therapies, also social engineering, and dealing with like sexuality, things of that sort, which all of this ties in together because, as we can see, a lot of the production that is pushed out to us has been very much provocative. And another thing that I have learned is that one of the shareholders of Netflix is, guess who? BlackRock. So all of this ties together because there's actually a social score, and it makes so much sense why there has been so much propaganda and immorality being pushed out towards people, especially when it comes to children, which was one of the things that was promoted by Sigmund Freud. He dealt with children, and actually, as we know in Hollywood, they are very corrupt. They push a lot of different things on children, including the alphabet community. So after learning that, I'm like, you know what, that makes so much sense. Who they related to, all of these people, it's like a full circle, and not a good circle. It's like a full circle of how all of this stuff, immorality and social engineering, has been pushed on the American people. And I know a lot of people don't know that. I just found out, and I feel like I do a lot of reading and research and trying to educate myself and knowing everything that's, you know, we're up against. But once I found that out, I was very, very surprised. And then also it made so much sense because a lot of the things that Netflix pushes on children, there was actually something controversial that they put out, I think last year, a couple years ago. It was some sort of documentary or like film or something of that sort, where there were young children, young girls that were dressing in very provocative clothing, and they were just pushing a lot of sexuality on them, and it was just very uncomfortable, and people were wanting to boycott them for that particular movie. So it all makes sense to me now, but I wanted to share that information with you. The largest shareholder is BlackRock of Netflix. One of the co-founders, Mark Randolph, is actually the great nephew of Edward Bernays. They're all tied into Sigmund Freud, the man that's the modern father of psychology. So we'll probably do another video on that soon, just to kind of dive deeper into that, but I just wanted to let you know that. So whenever you're looking at a Netflix movie and you see these subtle things about the alphabet community, and other just different things, political things. Just remember that they're working on your psychology, they're working on your psyche, they're working on your mind. They're trying to change you to think a certain way. And a lot of people don't like to be brainwashed, but when you're feeding into that stuff, you're basically being brainwashed. So I wanted to share that little bit of information with you. I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope it was something new that you learned, because we're all about learning things and adding to our knowledge file case and having wisdom and all the things. So thank you so much for being here. Be sure to subscribe, share all the things. Thanks.